What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the 1 Second of Strength podcast. Let's try that again. Okay. Tongue-tied already. What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the 1 Second of Strength podcast. I'm grateful you're here. Grateful you're spending your valuable seconds with me. It's just me, my dog, hanging out. I don't know why. He just always, if I'm wherever I am, he's there. But he's right here recording this podcast with me. But today we're going to talk about something that's really important. I think that this is if you're a parent listening to this, I think this episode is really important for your teenagers. If you are a parent, this episode is really important for you. And if you're a teenager, then this episode I think is critical. But, when I think about one of the things that kids today, people today are missing. And I don't know if this is a casualty of the digital world that we live in, or a casualty of parents not, being maybe a little bit overprotective. Maybe we're being helicopter parents, but I think that in today's world, there's a lack of resilience. But what happens in particular with teenagers, with a ton of people, is that because of the things that happen to us, and life is hard. It was never meant to be easy, right? And, as we go through the challenges we face on any given day, and whether those are financial struggles, whether those are relationship struggles, whether those are just internal struggles or even growth, like we want to become a better version of ourselves, but we face these challenges on any given day. But as we go through this, I think that too many people, adults, teenagers, and everybody else, we are becoming a victim of our circumstances. And we have this victim mentality. We have this victim mentality that is keeping us stuck and keeping us the same, instead of a resilient mentality that helps us overcome the challenges that we face. And so we can either be a victim of our circumstances, or we can be the author of our response. And today's episode is really about becoming the author of your response, being resilient, overcome the challenges you face, because they're going to happen. And it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you are, but life is going to be hard. I'll tell you, when I was little, we went on this cross-country ski trip, and it was awesome. It was actually not far from where I live now, but we went on this cross-country ski trip with our scout troop. And on the way back, we encountered a blizzard. It was this blinding whiteout blizzard, and we were on this 2-lane road. You could barely see anything. I remember we were in this 15-passenger van, just kind of like going slowly down the road. And we made this decision to pass on the left. And I saw, as we were getting ready to pass, that there was a sign that was mostly covered with snow, and it said, "Do not pass." So we had reached a point of the road that was a no passing zone. We had this big semi-truck in front of us. And so we started to pass this semi-truck, and really quickly down the road, we could see headlights, and those headlights were getting closer, and they were getting closer, and they were getting closer. And because the semi-truck was to our right and it was blizzard whiteout conditions, the roads were slippery, we couldn't do anything else. And so we just slowed down. I know the scout leader slowed down, but we just basically had a head-on collision. Not basically, we did have a head-on collision with the car that was coming our way. Those headlights got closer and closer and closer until we crashed. And in that moment, it would be really easy to place blame on all the things that happened there. But as we knew we were getting ready to crash, I did everything I could to prepare myself for that impact. I wasn't wearing a seatbelt. We didn't really wear seatbelts back then, but I braced myself on the chair in front of me, on the seat in front of me, and just positioned myself in a way that I could take the impact of the blow. And so what I call this, I think the first principle really to becoming the author of your response and being resilient, is having a next best mentality. What is the next best decision you can make in any given moment, regardless of what has happened to you? Because a victim would place blame. A victim would just go, "Oh, this happened and now I can't do X, Y, Z." An author would say, "This happened and now I will do X, Y, Z." And you see the difference between those two things? The victim is going to be pessimistic. The victim is going to say, "I can't do because of X, Y, Z." The author of your story, the author of your response is going to say, "I can because of this, because I have the capability to overcome." But here's the thing. Victims blame other people. if things have happened in your life and all you're doing is blaming other people for those things, and yes, they might have done it, no doubt, but all you're doing is staying stuck in resentment, and all you're doing is staying stuck in that moment of blame, then it becomes very hard to dig out of that hole. The other thing that victims do is they're not accountable. They won't ever hold themselves accountable, even in tragedy or things that maybe weren't even really their fault. But what are they accountable for in that moment? Victims will always blame others. They will always say it's others' fault, and they will always stay stuck in the past. And I think that is the biggest challenge to being resilient and overcoming that victim mindset. No matter what is done to you, the response is what you will do next. What are you going to do next to overcome? And most people who have this victim mentality, they just get stuck. They get stuck spinning their wheels. They get stuck blaming other people. They get stuck not holding themselves accountable, and they are unable to see what the next best option is for their life. And the next best option may not be the best. Like, it may be the, step A, B instead of you want to get to Z. But the reality is you have to decide that you're going to take that next step. So what is the next best step that you can do? That's the first thing I want you to focus on. No matter what happens to you, what's the next best thing you can do coming out of that? That makes you the author of your response. That makes you resilient. The second thing is this: we've got to get back to neutral. Too many times when bad things happen to us, somebody says something to us, somebody cuts us off in the road, whatever, we have this spike, right? This fight or flight mechanism in our brain. The adrenaline starts pumping, we start moving, and we have this quick emotional response to whatever is going on in our world. The key is returning to neutral as quickly as possible. If you can return to neutral, then you can return to making those decisions. And there's 3 really quick things that you should do to return to neutral. Number 1, I want you to refocus. Refocus means you have to step back really quickly, find your 1 second of strength, and remember what matters most. What matters most in your life, and then make that shift back to that thing. So that's the first thing. If you want to get back to neutral, refocus. The second thing is redirect. A lot of times when bad things happen to us and we have these spiked emotions, it's all we can think about, and we just ruminate, and we think about it. We want to redirect our thoughts to something else. A very simple example: redirect to gratitude. Can you think of something in that moment that you're grateful for? Can you think of something in that moment that makes you happy? In those moments when you are frustrated, when something has happened to you, redirect to a different thought, and it will help bring you back down to neutral so that you can get back to doing what you need to do. And the third thing is recenter. This is one of the ways you can do this is by just coming back down to the very simple things. So the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 method is about what are 5 things that you can see. And you just say them right then. I can see this. That was probably 7. I don't know how many it was. Do 5 things. 5 things you can see, 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, whether it's the birds, the trees, silence. Maybe you hear silence. 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. And it's a very quick process of returning back. So recentering, so that you can then move forward and make the decisions you need to do. Because what can't happen is when something's happened to us, the world's falling apart, whatever, we become a victim to something. When we stay the victim, it makes it impossible to reach our goals, reach our potential, find happiness. You'll never find it because you're staying stuck in the past. And yeah, things might have been good before, but then when something bad happened and you stay stuck on that past experience, that past thing that somebody said, that past tragedy, that past trauma that you had in your life, when you stay stuck in that moment, you are taking the future out of play, right? You're taking the future out of play. And most people, when they're unhappy, it's because we're thinking too much about the past, or we're worrying too much about the future. But what has to happen is, to change your future, become the author of your story, you have to return to neutral. You have to recenter. You have to stop being the victim. You have to become the author of your response and choose resilience over staying stuck in the past as a victim. So I hope this helps you today. Teenagers, if you're listening to this, just remember real quick, the next best. What's the next best thing you can do no matter what has happened to you? What's the next best thing you can do? Number 2, return to neutral as quick as possible. Do that by refocusing. Do that by redirecting your thoughts and recentering back into where you are. And when you do that, you'll stop focusing on the past. You'll stop focusing on the bad, the thing that happened, and you'll be able to put yourself in position to take control of your future. I hope this helps. Share this with someone. Share it with your teenagers. Share it with, share it with your mom. Share it with whoever you want. I know my mom shares this with everyone. She's super proud of me and I love her for it. But share this with whoever you can, because somebody needs this today. Somebody needs this message of next best and becoming the author of your future. And then if you could go to wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a rating, leave a review. It's one of the only ways that the magic algorithm will push this out to more and more people. So I hope this helps. I'll leave you the same way I always leave you, with one added nod to being resilient. But go find your 1 second of strength and be happy.